Soul family. Grab your notebook, your pencil, your water or favorite tea, and come sit down and play with me.
Boop a doop a doop a doop a doop a doop doo doo. Boop a doop a doop a doop a doop a doop boo.
It's a lovely day in the neighborhood. I'm walking down the street. And who should float up next to me but Cackling Galaxy? And my friends, they come out 'cause they know it's all about Gwen's Playtime, Crazy Magick Playtime podcast show. Gwen's Playtime, Crazy Magick Playtime. Join in the singing, the dancing, the dreaming. Boop, boop, boop.
It's Crazy Magick Playtime. In the last episode, Gwen, Ani, and Matt exited the magical kingdom through the door, and then they got to ask 10 crazy questions. We now will integrate our experience and jump back into the Kingdom of Kerfuffle.
It's Matt.
It's Matt.
It's Matt. And I've never seen this room before.
I know. I had to build a whole other room for my house. I only ever had one before. So.
It was just for this. You're like, let me build
just
a room.
For this. I had to have happy fun time, you know.
Yeah.
And likewise, I'm coming at you from a different room, a different location. I'm no longer in Los Angeles for the moment. I am in Arizona. I'm in Prescott Valley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like the spiritual vibes of like Sedona are kind of, you got like a growth on your head and something like that. So your spirit animal is coming out. I hear Sedona's got some magical powers. So yeah.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too. And Gwen has some new art for us as well. So everything's fresh.
No, I've seen the exploding blueberries before. So
that's what he calls them, exploding blueberries. Yeah.
They look like they're exploding out of your head like Princess Leia buns.
Nice. I'll totally take that.
Well, welcome to again our Crazy Magick Playtime follow-up, and to our different spaces here today. Slightly new, slightly shifted. What I wanted to offer is just a moment for the three of us to sort of connect, to kind of tune in, drop down, sort of leave mind, get into heart, or leave head, get into body, if you will, just by some simple breath and silence, just to get comfortable in our space, comfortable in ourselves, and just to kind of feel the kind of the environment that's here holding us right now, and whatever is visiting, if Pink Bunny needs to visit, whatever needs to visit, will hopefully, say hello. So in this moment, if you would, just sit upright, like you're dignified, the king, the queen in your own space, in your own body. Your spine is straight. Your shoulders are rolled down away from your ears. But you're also comfortable. Your body feels soft, though it is upright and also strong, holding you here. Your feet on the ground. Hands on your thighs. Feel your body. Feel your legs. And in this moment, let's just take a cleansing breath, which is in through the nose and out through the mouth with the sigh. So in through the nose and out. And breathing comfortably. Feel the air that goes in through the nostrils, almost like it's going up into the head, but then down the body, down through the belly, into the legs, into the earth. Your exhale, almost like compost, releasing what you don't need in this moment, going down into the earth, like roots from a tree going down from your feet where you have 72,000 nerve endings, like roots moving down and down through the earth, through the nutrient density of the soil, the rhizomatic layers of all that's there. And sitting in this quiet moment, just present for whatever is visiting. And mindful of breath that fills the lungs, that exhales again what's no longer needed, what we can release. And in these last few moments here, in this moment, this connection together, this breath that we are sharing, let it settle somehow into the heart space. Let in what we need for us right now. For you. For me. And allowing whatever is present now, what's been released, what is visiting. Let's breathe this in with a final, third and final cleansing breath, where we'll breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth with a sigh. In 3, 2, 1. And coming back into the body, wiggling fingers and toes. If eyes aren't already open, wiggling them open. Welcome each other into this shared space. Here now. Here now. And I'm very curious if there is anything that you wish to share that's visiting, anything that you felt needed to be released, or anything that maybe even harkens back to the last time we played together and met, in which there were sort of these moments of heart work or homework. So,
I guess I was kind of thinking about, special objects and whatever, but, kind of from the urchin's perspective, I guess. I didn't find anything that was a direct correlation to, we had the blue glass, the brass plate, the glazed pottery, and the cracked lantern.
yeah.
But certainly I think, in my shop downstairs, especially, there's things that I've kept or that I find special for one reason or another. Sometimes they're useful. Tools that I've just taken a liking to, tools often down there. Or other times they are things that I've kept because they hold some sort of symbolism. When I first got into woodworking, I had to practice finishing some wood, right? And so I found a finishing technique that I wanted to try. And so I had a scrap of wood and I just practiced finishing. And when I got to a point where I was comfortable on this scrap, well, then I went and did it on the project that I was actually working on. I didn't want to practice on this project, and so I've saved that little square of wood and I wrote on the back, first piece I ever finished. Whatever, it was the first thing I ever did, or at least that was any kind of what I would consider craftsmanship to, as opposed to just brushing something on. There was an actual skill that I was building up with an intention for this one thing. So that kind of a stuff. There's nothing special about the wood other than it means something to me. It was the first thing that I did.
Yeah.
So maybe some things like that, but anything that I did find felt like a bit of a stretch, if I'm totally honest. So yeah. I was the thing that it seemed like I was trying to tune the dial to was, around the idea of a fountain overflowing. And frankly, I didn't find anything. The theme of the following week, if you will, that I kind of referred to, that kind of kept coming up in my mind was one of a clean slate or new beginnings, a phoenix rising from the ashes, that sort of a theme, I guess, if you will. I don't recall anything along those lines coming up in our time together, or at least if it was, it would have to be a stretch. So, maybe the king, taking on a new identity to go wander the kingdom. That would be the nearest analogy I could come up with. But that was the theme of my life, at least, I would say, for the next week or so.
Yeah,
that really kind of was important to me.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to just hear you and kind of the process you tried to go through afterwards. I can tell from your mind, you very much kind of, what is the analogy? What, how can I transfer this idea directly onto it? Is that the right connection? You're trying to make this connection to that specific thing. And something that I found in my experience with this is that sometimes it's not something obvious or something that the brain already knows what the meaning is of it. And so that's the gold of it, is that we start to, once our mind gets tired of trying to figure it out, then we can enter into some kind of experience with it that we just weren't expecting. And so that's kind of, I think, the next step, if you so choose, Sir Knight. Well, no,
I'm a knight now. Spoilers, you didn't tell me that part. We haven't talked about a knight yet.
Sir, King, Knight, whatever you want to be. That's kind of the kind of quest of it, and that's kind of for me what the waters are. Really, is actually it's sure. The waters were going down the middle of the street, and that's not what the street was for. The street is for traveling on, and so this is a way of traveling. This is a way of going with the flow and just seeing where it goes. That might be something a little bit new for your mind to just take it off, set it to the side, and just let me be with this kind of a thing.
Interesting. That wasn't at all I tend to overthink. Not say overthink, that feels judgmental, but I've been told I overthink. We'll just say, a lot of things, try to get very pragmatic and okay, how can I need to understand to apply a thing or concept, whatever, right? And that was not the meaning, I guess, if you will, that I saw in the water, or at least that I was kind of tuned into. To me, it felt more like abundance or overflow or something in that vein, if that makes any sense. So I didn't at all see the correlation between the road wasn't meant for water and here it has water, and I didn't even see that correlation, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, not that I couldn't have ever gotten there, but that I wasn't tuned to that frequency.
Yeah.
That wasn't what my radio was picking up. So
the great thing is there were three of us there on that experiment. There were three of us there, and so we're all kind of experiencing this in different ways. Sure. And that's what's so cool. I mean, and so you're looking at it, you're like, what is the meaning? This interprets as that. And I'm sitting there, well,
what is being with the water like? What is that experience? And Ani was probably thinking something completely different. Ani, what were you thinking?
Well, for me in these journeys or travels and imagination, it's about inhabiting it and embodying within it as much as possible, seeing it as very much alive and ensouled. And to that end, just like when you dive into this book that's been written and is quite alive, though it's fiction, you're sitting there and your mind is on fire. It's ablaze with the landscape that's been painted for you. So I am wondering what's next, as I was then. I mean, we had to come to an end, and I think we had come sort of to an end in our time when we were doing this, where, I mean, we had that, experience of where I was the sort of the mother, right, who was sort of this like, I don't know, witch or kind of magical being.
We were going with Glenda.
Glenda type lady, and then there is kind of like the reveal, and the king is continuing on his journeys and getting to know the people from a new perspective, and water is overflowing, and so in this moment I'm what I'm doing is finding ways to make it very palpable, very tangible. I'm trying to like almost breathe into it. I'm looking and I'm seeing what else I see. I remember there was this moment where we were discussing how the water was going out to the fields, and it was actually this. You alluded to this, Matt. It was kind of like a bounty, an overflow.
Right.
Something coming into being that wasn't quite there before because of perhaps my visitation as Glenda, that kind of interrupted the kingdom, and there was a transcribing of what I said, but then that got burned and lost or damaged. And
see, I was thinking it was the urchin with the magic eating the bread thing. I didn't think it was you at all. So again, we have another the urchin's got tingly fingers or something like that, because he was holding the bread and the princess ate it thinking she was going to get magic and said there's no magic. So I'm like, where'd the magic go? Well, the urchin must have had it. So again,
or maybe we might be talking about different parts of the journey.
Who knows?
But I think all of this to say it's multifaceted, and it's highly individuated, the experience for you, by you, through you. It's yours, and what you need to learn or what you need to experience is uniquely yours. So it's also not something that needs to be didactic per se. You don't have to learn anything. I mean, I do feel like Earth is a place we're here to learn. Like that's kind of great, I think. But I think,
but also to have fun and experience.
Yeah, and I think that's the main goal of any type of imaginary praxis, or an ongoing practice in which you engage the mind, body, spirit in kind of an imaginal way, and kind of go through these highways and byways of the psyche, in the underground, in the solar realm, wherever you're going, like in fairy tale. That there's something there that's very rich and very numinous. So it's kind of mysterious on the one hand, and then but it's very, it feels like you're tapping into something that's also quite real, and yet it's also at the same time imaginal. And so it's kind of this, actually it's like a little trifecta there in that regard. And it invokes a lot of different parts of mind, body, spirit, and by doing that, it just opens us up even if it's just like a tiny little beep, a little bit. It's allowing for a new way of seeing and a new way of journeying, not just in those landscapes, but in the daily land. So being able to get into that place, it demands, I guess, a certain level of a meditative state, But all of that to say, we're playing in the fields of the soul, but when we do this kind of work, this imaginal work. But because of how our minds function, it actually tells the mind that this is very much happening. It's an exercise, like it's really unfolding in some way, and it's encoding in our own kind of infrastructure of self. And just like you read Lord of the Rings, it's a part of your own kind of referential library of being and of who you are. So, and just like when you are reading that, there are certainly signs and symbols and levels of meaning, but there's also something that's beyond that. That's just that's sort of like a felt sense. That's just a space that you're in.
Although we don't cover all of our integration process here, integration is very important with soul play. I encourage you to join a soul play group. Please feel free to check out the group sessions that are available now.
Able and willing, dear Matt, to just, in this moment, just take a nice deep breath in and out, release, and with eyes closed, just comfortable. Recall that fountain, the water that's overflowing. I'm here as Glenda. I have these magical powers. There's safety in this kind of strength I have and I've wielded that you saw last time. We have the narrator here as Gwen. So you're not alone. In fact, this place is rather populated, as I remember. But if you're just standing here, there are cobblestone, water going down toward the fields, people going about their daily business, as you explained the last time, like a market, hustling, bustling, haggling. So as you place yourself here and you land, what do you see?
Well, we were, as I recall, we had met at a door. There was a door that you had acted all strange and mysterious like around. And I chose to go to the door. I frankly don't remember exactly what happened in the door, but I remember the door was a thing. So in my mind, we are back out in front of the door.
Yeah.
Doctor Who, like, you've snapped your fingers and we're back there. I picture the door kind of maybe in a building or more like a wall, like a door to, an alley or something like that. Anyway, that's how I picture it. But it opens up right back out on that main street.
Yeah.
Thoroughfare, whatever it might be. It is downhill a little bit from the marketplace.
Yeah.
So the place that we came from is, in my mind, to the left and up a little bit because the water is flowing, so water flows down. Exactly. So it's a bright day and the water is sparkling like gold or diamonds or whatever from the sunlight glistening off of it because the water is moving. Where we are, there are people, but it's not as crowded as the marketplace is. So people are either walking away from the marketplace with whatever they brought or bought, or they're walking towards the marketplace with empty baskets to get produce or whatever they're going to get, or just meandering, looking at the water. Maybe there's some kids playing with the water. And the water is trickling, down path of least resistance, like towards the right, and down. I can't see the exit, like the wall or however it's getting outside of the city. So the city is big enough, at least, that it is out of sight. I don't picture the city as like, dirt buildings with grass roofs. It feels to me like more stone and brick and that type of a thing than it does, grass and mud and dirt hovels and, women with missing teeth, looking like the Princess Bride, kind of a thing, So
Matt, you've been looking at me too long. Come
no,
on.
I just Princess Bride is a movie I've seen way too many times.
Yes,
I'm just hearing
great
boo. So we're not seeing that lady, right? The people have a little bit more help. Whatever, it's a bit more modern than that. But anyway.
I'm wondering, do you think in this moment you could squat down and put your hands into the water, because gold, diamond-like, sparkling? I'm wondering if you can do that. And
Well, I would, but I have to walk up a little ways. It's not in front of
okay.
us. But yes, we can walk up a good 10, 15 feet to do that. But the water's not very deep because we're not in a, this is just like, it's only an inch or whatever deep, right? Because this is a road. It wasn't meant to be like a gutter or a trough or whatever. So, but yeah, we could certainly put our hands in the water.
Yeah, and what does it feel like? Is there an odor even? Like
no, it doesn't feel like there's any odor at all. It just feels like pure and crystalline clear. Just it feels maybe a little cool, but not cold and not warm. It's just, perfect temperature,
Does the water call you in any way or beckon you in a direction? Because it feels like it's very much going somewhere.
Well, I mean, it only beckons me in the sense of we don't know where it's going. I mean, we've been told it's going to a field or somewhere outside of the city, but other than that, I mean, there's the natural beckoning of, well, the water is moving in a direction. We know where it's coming from. It's coming from the fountain, so I guess let's go the other way.
You want to follow the direction?
Yeah, I mean, I'm naturally curious anyway, so let's go see where it's going.
Likewise.
And it feels like this road is slightly on a incline, whatever. Anyway, going downhill. So, let's just kind of go follow it down. It's not overly crowded at this point because, again, most of the activities up there in the marketplace. It's morning time, so we'll kind of wander it down and step in the water, splash a little bit, and keep on going. It's rounding a turn a little bit, just kind of a natural curve of the road or whatever. Maybe that's why it was out of sight. And I guess the city has some kind of wall, not like a huge castle, but in this era you would have walls around a city, so of some sort, some kind of protection against marauders or witches. So anyway,
Good one.
especially those with unicorn heads. So
beware.
Watch out.
All right. Our normal defenses of houses that land on top of them has failed. So anyway, but there's some kind of a gateway, a normal gateway with the people would bring their horses and carriages and so forth to come in and out of the city, and of course the water is moving around. What is notable is that this being the Middle Ages and this being a road that people would be walking on at best, worst, with horses and cattle and the like, which would have hay and horse stuff. This water is remarkably clear, and just dirt in general. Right? This water is remarkably clear despite all of that. And still looks like the type of thing that you would want to play in or wash in or drink or bathe in or whatever. It doesn't seem to be picking up any of the detritus or whatever that's on the stones that are there that would naturally build up in a place like this. Anyway, so yeah, we go through the gateway And as you once you get outside the city, the roads are not nearly as well maintained. Maybe they're not quite as flat, and so the water, um, sort of finds its way off to one side of the road and makes its way, outside of the city just a little ways, and then kind of just the path of least resistance is towards the right. So um, it makes its way off towards the right into, as the lady said before, into the fields, where it's kind of starting to make a little bit of a muddy mess, which is, I'm sure it was great at first, to water the crops and stuff out there, the wheat and the potatoes and things like that. But all the water in one place is going to get irritating pretty quick, make it hard to get out there, and eventually, of course, harm those crops.
Does it look like the crops might need some tending, or that this water might need to be contained almost?
Well, not contained. It's going to need to be controlled or drained, or we're going to need to find a way to keep it from just building up there and staying there and drowning those crops.
Yeah.
Right? We need to either get it to, a stream or a river or some place where it's not going to drown our crops.
Yeah.
Certainly, even if it stays there, it's going to turn everything to a muddy, sloppy mess, so that nobody can get back in there to maintain them or take care of the crops. So we've got a couple of different problems here, and the water's not stopping.
Yes.
So we either need to find a way to harness it, use it to our good, like a water wheel or something to that effect, or we need to find a way to control it, to get it to so it doesn't cause any harm or any more harm to our food and whatever else it might come across. It's not intended to have that much water nonstop encounter it. So we either need to direct it or harness it, or in some other way, shape, or form keep it from causing any harm or any more harm.
And considering that this is a city state, right? This Middle Ages stone and brick city with many residents and people, tradesmen and folks who know how to tend the land and have their own types of businesses and expertise. And you're king, right, undercover still, sort of learning about this land and following this water and getting curious and seeing this problem. But there are so many potentially in the kingdom who can help with this. Is there anyone that in this moment you see, maybe someone in the distance, excuse me, who's maybe taking care of another part of the land, or anyone here who might offer some type of assistance or aid?
Well, right around me, there are a few farmers who are kind of standing around. Their knees and down are muddy because they were out there trying to help, but they kind of got overwhelmed by the mud. And so they're kind of sitting there, pulling their hair, proverbially speaking, going, what are we going to do? Because the water's not coming. The water won't stop.
Yeah.
And they're watching their crops, slowly succumb to all of this water. There is a mill up a little bit a ways, a little bit farther out, where there's a windmill where they grind the wheat that we're growing here in these fields, and so there could be somebody there who knows about mills and grinding and potentially water wheels as well as windmills and those types of things. So we could do that, but that's going to take a bit of time to both gather the resources and build, this kind of a thing. It might be good to look for somebody who knows the land, to know if there's streams or rivers or things like that that are nearby that we can get this water running to, rather than trying to build a bunch of infrastructure while our crops drown. Just instead, maybe dig some ditches and just, even if they're temporary, get them going. Get the water out of the area and relieve the immediate concern. And I'll bet you our farmers could at least help alleviate that. In the short term, they've got shovels and hoes and picks and things like that. But we got to find somebody who knows the lay of the land. So we're looking for a hunter or a surveyor type, maybe a taxman who's measured the land for tax purposes, maybe, who knows the lay of the land. Oh, something like that.
Also, there are undoubtedly animals indigenous to this area who intuitively understand the land.
They probably are. If we had a witch who could make them speak, that would be helpful. Or could help me speak, deer. But until such time as she shows up with her ruby red heels, I'm sticking with people that I can understand.
Well, the cool thing is that actually your daughter shows up.
The one who tried to eat the baguette that didn't have magic and was frustrated?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, she wasn't frustrated. You were.
No, I thought she was frustrated because it wasn't. Oh, was it? Well, one of us was frustrated because the baguette wasn't baguetting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was fine with all that. She comes up to you, and for some reason she feels familiar enough for you to just start talking with you, and she's like, I saw this coming, and I didn't want this to happen, and I've been asking for people to help. I actually, but no one has really seen merit in my idea. Of course, why would I believe they would see merit? Because I'm a woman, and no one really wants. So I don't know why I'm telling this to you, stranger. But
well, what's your idea? What do you got?
Well, these whole lands are laid out in a way that, with a little bit of inertia, water can be recycled in a beautiful way. And I have the trees beyond here that have fallen. The interesting thing about them is that when they fall, they're so old that the insides of them have been eaten out, but there's still a shell. And I have been wanting to use those as connective ways between the different crops and the different lands, and almost use them as different to help support different levels of water, and they're just there waiting for us to use them, and no one uses that. People just burn them.
So you're thinking we use the trees like tunnels, basically.
Yeah.
Are you thinking that we bring the trees here, or are we thinking that we get the water to the trees?
Well, I worked with the miller over here, and I'll show you. We have some set up over here. We would first need to find a place for the water to be held, and then these can be placed in underneath the ground, and so this could be almost an underground system that flows.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Okay. So we need to bring the trees here. Okay,
yeah, but since the earth right now is getting so moist, it actually will help with that process of making the underground work, the tunnels, because the soil is being softened, and in that softening you can almost like as if you were turning a wheel. The turning of the wheel can go in. I've seen how turning of things can sink things in faster, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. I see what you're saying here. Yeah, I think. All right. So you're thinking we're going to use these trees to direct the water underground, right?
Mhm.
And now we need to figure out where we're going to run the water.
Mhm.
Okay. Do you know this land at all?
I do know this land, but I have a friend who actually knows it even better than me. His name is Aaron, and he is the miller's son over here, and
And does he run the windmill?
he does help
Okay.
the windmill. Yeah.
All right. So maybe he would know where. So we either need to get rid of the water or we use the water. So maybe he would have some ideas.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have any ideas for how to get rid of or use the water?
I hesitate in sharing right now because
You've already had one good idea.
yeah, I do, but I part of me, I am afraid for people to hear my ideas, but maybe Aaron can share it with you.
All right.
Yeah, I think it's time for a visit to the mill.
I think it seems like all roads point to, or we're foreshadowing the mill. So
yes, it's there in the distance, looming a little, but also, yes,
yeah, not too far away. Yeah. All right. So I guess we're going to tell you what. How far away are these trees?
The forest actually is just to the, I guess, just to the south, not too very far. It's less than a mile away or so. A mile.
Okay, a mile away. So I'm not sure what a mile is. Is that like 50 or 60 donkey lengths long or something like that, roughly?
Like 400.
Okay. 400 donkey lengths. Okay, something like that. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what a mile is. I'm not from this part of town here. So okay.
You can see it. That's why I it's easily seen.
Okay.
Easily
and
seen.
Are these trees? How big are these trees? Are they roughly like 2 or 3 hands across? Are we talking 5 or 6 hands across?
We're talking like 3 to 5 feet across.
Feet across. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So these can be moved by just these can be moved by a group of men. Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right. So I'm thinking, if we can find somebody here who's picking up what you're throwing down, then we could get them moving these trees over while we go talk to the miller. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone, as they say in my people say.
Yeah, but sir, like who are you going to get to move these stones? I mean,
well, I don't know. We've got a whole bunch of farmers over here with muddy feet. They're not doing anything.
But
all right.
Are they gonna see any benefit in this?
Well, I don't know. I think they're going to see some benefit in not having their crops flood.
Yeah, but I've talked to people before about this, and
I've got a way with people. Let me see if we can go talk to them, and we'll go talk to them, and yeah, just like that, they're all on board. So let's go.
Wow, you are an expert negotiator, sir.
it was just like the sometime later, kind of a thing, and then
ellipses.
This is like
if I didn't tell you guys, I slept like
SpongeBob vibe. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. The SpongeBob SquarePants thing, like 30 minutes later, kind of a thing. So, if I didn't tell you guys, I slept like 90 minutes last night. So,
oh my God.
So, Insomnia is a killer some nights. So, but yeah, so I, whatever. They're all on board. I showed them that they could either stand there and watch their crops flood, or we can at least try this concept that in my country we called pipe, but I think in your language we might call them pipes. And so we're going to try to bring them over here, and we're going to see if it works. And it's better than watching the crops flood. And we're going to go talk to the miller's son, Aaron, I think you called him, and we're going to see if we can. We'll see if we can figure out where these things are going to go and how we're going to get them there and what we're going to do with the water. But in the meantime, these people are going to feel gainfully employed and feel like they're doing something to at least have a chance at not ruining their crops. So can you point them in the direction of where these trees are?
Oh yeah. They are know where the trees are.
They know where they are. Okay.
People go out there and have light fires and have fun.
Okay. All right. Cool. So they know where the trees are. So they're going to go get the trees, bring them back. If you want to use wagons, or if you just want to bring them back. And I'll tell you what, there's a gold coin in it for each of you for every tree that's here when we come back. So there we go.
You better live up to your promise, sir. I don't know where you're getting all these gold coins.
You know what? There is water everywhere. There's gold coins everywhere. So,
Splendid.
And so now I can see Aaron.
Is it Aaron or just Aaron?
Aaron.
Aaron, be nice.
Aaron.
Yes, I added a D at the end.
A hard D.
Yeah.
Okay. So this guy hasn't messed up. Okay, got it. Good.
All right. Aaron. I can see him kind of waving at us because we're kind of walking in his general direction, and I mean, he certainly knows you, Miss.
So you know this guy, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Interesting. All right, cool.
All right. So
I don't think I've ever met this guy before. So all right, cool.
All right. Well, let's all journey toward a rond. And Miss, what is your name?
Oh, I'm Celelia.
Celelia.
Yeah, Celelia.
Celelia. Well, Celelia, if you would be so kind as to introduce us, because you do know him, and we do.
Mm-hmm. So I come up to him, and he is like, "Oh, do you see what's happening? It's just like your dream said." Celendion, is that my name? Celendion?
Celelia.
Celelia.
Or
Did you just say? She said Celine Dion. I thought. Okay, so we're not Rorschach testing that one, Ani. We both heard that one. Okay, I just want to make sure we both heard that one. Like I thought I
yeah.
It's
Celelia.
I combined the names together, so it was like Aaron and whatever my name is.
Celelia.
I see you shipping Celelia and Aaron over here already. It's okay, so it's all right.
Celelia. So yeah, he's just like, of course this happened, and I have it all drawn out. I have the diagram all drawn out here surrounding the mill, and it can be, it can be done fairly quickly, and I'm like, that's amazing. I knew you'd figure it out, but this gentleman seems to be getting people to move trees. Like, who knew, right?
Gold coins.
So I'm a little lost. What's this plan you've got here?
Coins. And I just, evidently people like gold coins around here, and he's got people are going to move trees for us.
But I don't. What are these plans that you've got here around?
Curious.
So he shows you kind of on a kind of parchment. It's an old kind of a ledger of what they have in the the mill and what the transactions, and he's kind of sketched on it kind of this circular thing with that has kind of lines going out and extending out, and then they extend out further, and they come out one side and they come out the opposite sides, and then it's just kind of like it's a graph. It looks just like a graph of and as you look closer you can see the castle, and then below it these are actually the fields and where they are. And the mill somehow is ending up kind of right in the center of all of this, and he's just kind of drawn around it this kind of a circle, this kind of, it becomes almost a lake around it, and then there's these pathways off to different areas, if that makes any sense.
So the mill's in the middle and there's a circle around it with like spokes, like a wheel kind of a thing?
Yeah, kind of like a wheel. And of course, there'd have to be a bridge to through it, to each side, but to get to the mill.
All right, so Aaron, why don't you tell me what am I looking at here? What is this thing that you've got drawn up?
Yeah, that's basically what he says. Is there's some way that I've figured out how to raise water, and this contraption here helps do it. But all of these pathways are pathways into the fields that we can turn on and off, and direct the water from one central location. So we won't drown another field in order to water another field.
Oh, so it's irrigation.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay. So you've got a plan for irrigating the fields with this water that we all of a sudden have in abundance.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting that you had a plan for this before we had the water. Okay. All right.
Well, he said, she's had these dreams and I couldn't get them out of my mind. So.
Okay. Oh, so Celia had the dreams, or Celine Dion had the dreams, and you drew them up and put them so that we could. Okay, got it. All right. So we've got this plan, courtesy of her, to maybe try to direct the water in some direction. The water is still coming, so we need to get moving. And we've got these trees that we're going to try to put underground to get the water somewhere. We need to get the water going pretty quickly. Irrigation seems like a good idea. Where would the water need to go to make this plan work? And do you know that it can work?
Aaron says, I've tried it out in a little way here. He shows kind of this little mini whatever, kind of a mini version of it that he played with that's kind of near the house. And he said, of course, I haven't tried it in real life. So this will be the first time really trying it, sir. But I'm curious as to why you're so invested here. Do you have a lot of these lands? I've never met you before.
Well, I'm only seeing that we have a pretty urgent problem here, and nobody around seems to want to, nobody seems to have an idea except just to stand there and pull their hair out. And we have this water that's coming, and it doesn't seem to be stopping coming, and it doesn't seem to have a place to go. So
the problem that I see, sir, is that these lands right surrounding the mill are the lands of the king. And we cannot do anything to them without permission from the king himself.
Got it. Do you know how we can go find the king?
Well, whatever her name, she's like, well, my father only lets me see him when I perform something that he's requested of me to do. And he hasn't requested of me anything lately. But I guess I could find my way, push my way in to try and find him.
Okay. Is that are you the only one? Are you let's see here. So he hasn't asked anything from you recently?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Yesterday it was my birthday and he was just very angry.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I bet you that's pretty awkward. Okay.
But I know what I can do because I know what I can do. When I was little, I would go sing to him and he'd always let me in if I said I wanted to sing a song to him. So I can go and have a court, one of the guards say that I want to sing a song to him.
I'll bet you that would at least be worth a shot. Couldn't hurt. And if that could get us a chance at solving the problem, or at least get us an audience so we can tell him what's going on out here. He might have a better idea, but right now it doesn't seem like anybody has any idea. It doesn't even seem like the king's men are out here, does it? So maybe we should.
No, they aren't out here.
Maybe we should go tell him. Yeah. All right. So
if you'll come with me, then
I'll come with you. Well, you know what, Aaron, why don't you come with Celery here, and that way, if she does get in, then you'll be prepared to throw your offer or throw your suggestion, and if not, then you two at least get to hang out. It seems like you guys hang out from time to time anyway. So I mean, if she's telling you her dreams, then it seems like you guys hang out from time to time anyway. So and you guys go see if you guys come on.
Okay, are you coming along, mister?
No, yeah, we'll come along too. But I'm just saying,
by the way,
what?
Sir, what's your name? What's your name?
I'm just a traveler. So let's just go hang out. And my name is not really pronounceable by people in this land. Every time I say it, they get it wrong, and it becomes embarrassing for you and me both. So just call me Traveler.
Okay, Traveler. I'm a little anxious about you, even though I feel very comfortable with you.
Good.
I just don't know why. I don't know. Maybe this is some kind of ploy to come to get contact with the king.
Well, I mean, you've got water, you've got problems, he's got plans, and you've got dreams. And so, yeah, that's kind of the plan, isn't it?
Maybe me and Aaron will go visit Dad, and I don't know if I can allow you into the room.
That's fine. Look, all I care about is getting these fields drained. So, you don't want me to come on? That's fine. I'll hang out here.
Toodles. All right. End scene. Glenda comes in, and so Glenda's now here as we'll call you Celery. That's excellent. Celery and Celine, and Arund. Wow, Arund. Okay,
Aragon.
Aragon and Celine are going to the castle to go meet up with Daddy. And meanwhile, actual Daddy is now kind of surveying what in the world is going on. Hopefully we can save our crops. This will be devastating, obviously, to our kingdom if we can't get this water under control. But if we do, my goodness, we could then irrigate and, populate crops in other fields and really create a level of bounty we've maybe never seen before in our kingdom. So I'm there with you as Glenda. We're having this kind of this touch point, this kind of a talk to touch base about what's been unfolding here, and I appreciate what you've been learning and what you've been seeing, and the patience and compassion with which you are caring for your people and yourself in the process, and navigating this so well. So at this point, Celine and or Aragon are almost at the castle, and I am now transforming you back fully into king.
Out here, I was going to go sneak back to my in case of coup, pull the lever back into my throne room. Now I got to awkwardly sneak back to the city. All right, thanks, Glenda. Appreciate that.
However, one thing that you're not learning is the power that you wield, not just that I wield. Because if you wish, earlier you were saying, there are animals of the land who know this land better than the humans here do. If only you could speak. However, if only you could ask me for that power, you would have it. If only you could ask for how you would like to return to the kingdom, there you have it. So you are in your power, in your authority, and you've shown me to be very, not obedient, but willing, really open. And with that comes another level of gift that you have. Right. To dialogue with me. I am not your overlord, just as you are not per se simply an overlord of these people. There is a both and here. There is an interplay between us all, no matter who has a level of power and responsibility. Do you see or understand what I'm saying?
I think so. I think so. Because I think you're asking one question. You're trying to get me to answer it in 5 different fronts, but I think so.
I have mystical ways.
As it pertains to the story, I'm chilling out here in the mill, and Aaron and Cilantro are about to get up into the castle, right?
Yeah. And you're not there yet. You're in the field.
Right. I'm out here, and you're out here with your ruby red slippers, and
I'm in my pink bubble.
And and your wand, and your.
I have a wand.
So
and a horn.
Right. So I think first order of business, just in terms of quadrant 1, if we're doing Stephen Covey here, is urgent and important, is I need to get back to the throne room. So deer talking would be cool, but they're about to be there. So Glenda, if you wouldn't mind, we need to get back there so that I can meet dear daughter and her apparent boyfriend / beau / rendezvous / I don't know, but something when they show up. So why don't we get back over there, and then we'll address the rest of those things.
Thank you for joining us on Gwen's Crazy Magick Playtime podcast show. This week's soul play is for you to imagine yourself in your fantastical land and sit and be in one of your characters, your roles that you want to play. Look into this role and see where the limitations are and what they could ask for that would help them feel more powerful and able to live their lives. Whatever it is, find a way to grant it to them and see how it feels for them to step into their new empowered self, expanded beyond the identity they thought they had to play. Perhaps they will give themselves wings, and we can fly together. Join us next episode when Gwen says,
"No one cares except me, okay, Dad?"